We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight. This evening, we discuss the queer headlines. The world is mourning country music icon and cultural titan Dolly Parton, who passed away today at 80. Beyond her legendary catalog, Parton leaves behind an enduring legacy as an early, unwavering ally who embraced the LGBTQ+ community long before it was accepted in mainstream country music.
A renewed clash over school bathroom access is escalating in North Carolina. A proposal to restrict transgender students' restroom access has drawn federal scrutiny and fierce local debate, leaving parents and advocates warning that the policy puts LGBTQ+ students at heightened risk of bullying and harassment.
The Roman Catholic Diocese of Oakland mandated the removal of traditional pride and progress flags from classrooms. Bishop O'Dowd High School responded by unveiling the Inclusive O, a rainbow watercolor variation of its official emblem designed to maintain LGBTQ+ representation.
A new opinion piece in the Jerusalem Post warns that parts of Europe's LGBTQ+ movement are undermining their own foundational values. Writing on growing post-October 7th rifts, author Sharon Pardo argues that subjecting Israeli and Jewish participants to political loyalty tests erases universal inclusivity.
Prominent television directors are publicly stepping away from HBO's upcoming Harry Potter reboot. They turned down offers to direct episodes of the series, citing creator J.K. Rowling's controversial record on transgender issues and refusing to participate in projects that financially benefit her. All of this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 13 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voices in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It's Tuesday, August 25th, 2026. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. I'm Tai Houser. Let's queer up entertainment. Remembering Dolly Parton, country icon's legacy of radical LGBTQ+ love and advocacy. Country music global icon, actor, and philanthropist Dolly Parton passed away at the age of 80, leaving behind an unparalleled artistic legacy and a profound history of advocacy for marginalized communities. Born in rural East Tennessee, Parton rose to global stardom with timeless hits such as Jolene, 9 to 5, and I Will Always Love You. Yet, alongside her musical achievements, Parton earned a unique place in cultural history for her fierce, unconditional embrace of the LGBTQ+ community, a stance she championed decades before mainstream country music embraced inclusion. From defending drag queens who impersonated her to quietly welcoming annual Gay Days gatherings at her Dollywood theme park, starting in the early 90s, Parton resisted conservative pushback and insisted that love and acceptance were fundamental to her Christian faith. In 2005, she earned an Academy Award nomination for Travelin' Through, a song she wrote specifically for the film Transamerica. Throughout her life, Parton rejected political division, choosing instead to offer direct, radical empathy. When asked by Billboard in 2014 about her broad LGBTQ+ fan base and pushback from conservative critics, Parton offered a clear moral stance, quote, "They know that I completely accept them just as they are. I think everybody should be allowed to be who they are and to love who they love. I don't think we should be judging each other. God is the judge. I just think we should be accepting and loving, and I am." From supporting early HIV/AIDS fundraisers to fostering spaces where queer youth felt seen, Parton built bridges across political and cultural divides. As fans worldwide honor her memory, civil rights advocates emphasize that her greatest legacy extends beyond her music. She modeled a courageous, unyielding standard of human kindness. And that is what she wanted to be remembered for. Her version of Christianity was one that I absolutely can be on board with. Leave everyone alone and just love each other. I mean, essentially, that's what she was saying. And some of the best music, my mom always finds me singing these songs, like, how do you know this song? Where is it from? I'm like, this is some random Dolly Parton album from the mid 80s that no one's ever heard of. But one of my favorites, and I can sort of thinking of her singing it to herself now, it's called Rockin' Chairs. And it's about two people growing old on the porch rocking chairs. And it's just such a sweet song.
Pay tribute to her husband who died, a year or 2 years ago from being ill for quite some time. And they said in some things I saw today on TV and read that she ignored her own health while she took care of her husband for so long, and that her stint in Las Vegas was cut short because it was time to focus on herself. So clearly there was some things going on, and sadly it came to an unexpected, 80 is no longer that old, especially, someone like her who has all the resources at their fingertips. So she will definitely be missed, and I thank her for her years of making us all smile and all the different movies. I loved her in 9 to 5. That was awesome. And
yeah, absolutely. It's funny because, we are used to seeing celebrities as like always looking the same, and we forget that they do age, and no one did not age like Dolly Parton. Like, she always looked the same, and that was part of what she celebrated
made
about.
her iconic.
Yeah, and are iconic. And so we forget that, she was 80, and yes, 80 is no longer that old, but 80 is still a long, healthy life.
Yeah.
I think what's really special about her is her way to advocate for LGBTQ plus people, but not be political. And I honestly think that we need more, especially in celebrities, because the messaging, and it's the same what happens with religion, is it gets so blurred with politics. And she believed in what Christianity actually teaches, which is, of course, is to love thy neighbor. And she brought that to our community and to acceptance. And she didn't she wasn't campaigning for anyone. She never really ever expressed her own political leanings or whatever they were, but she expressed what was in her heart. And I think if we had more people doing that and taking less of a political angle, that we probably would advance equality in a different way.
And I think she goes far beyond just LGBTQ plus issues. For the people in rural East Tennessee, she stimulated the economy there with Dollywood. She made sure that books were sent to children every day. Not every day, but every month, I believe that they received a certain amount of books from the time of birth till, when they were in school, because she wanted to raise the literacy rate for the children that were living in Sevierville, where she was from, because she understood that education is fundamental, reading is fundamental, making sure that the next generation does a little bit better or a lot better than the previous one did. And she's truly a woman, a girl of her community. And she pulled herself up by her bootstraps, and I think her famous line was, "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap." And I don't think she looked very cheap, but she was definitely a beautiful woman, and she had a beautiful soul, and the world truly lost an iconic human being. And she was famous for all the right reasons. She had so much talent, and she had so much heart, and she had so much spirit. And I don't know where the next person like her is going to come from.
She the video that I think it was her nephew posted to announce that she had passed. At the end, he said something like she wanted to be on a soft bed of cotton because she'd been wearing rhinestones for so long, she wanted to be comfortable. And I think that is classic Dolly, to let that be her last will and testament. And then just to kind of wrap it up, I'm sure you all have had the same thing, but two of my friends posted, and I'm sure many people have said similar things, but one of them this one just hits different.
Yeah.
And the other one was I usually don't cry about celebrities dying, but this really affected. And so to all of us out there, I know we could sit around here and talk about Dolly for the next 2 hours if we wanted to. I don't know that you want us to. But certainly a loss.
Wore a
for
wig and maybe enhanced ourselves, they might stay.
Well, well, I know it is a loss for our community. It's a loss for the artistic world in general, and we love you, Dolly.
I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up trans rights. North Carolina bathroom policy debate triggers fears of LGBTQ plus student harassment. A high-profile policy battle in Cabarrus County, North Carolina, has reignited state and national debates over transgender student rights, facility access, and campus safety in public K-12 education. The controversy centers on district policies governing which restrooms transgender students are permitted to use. While conservative board members and parent groups advocate for strict regulations based on biological sex at birth, local LGBTQ+ advocacy organizations, parents, and civil rights advocates argue that forced restrictions isolate transgender youth and invite dangerous scrutiny. Community advocates emphasize that forcing students into separate or incorrect facilities increases public exposure, directly correlating with a spike in verbal abuse, peer intimidation, and harassment across campus. The local dispute takes place against a complex legal backdrop. School administrators face pressure from federal civil rights inquiries led by the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights regarding Title IX compliance and facility enforcement. Simultaneously, legal experts note that federal appellate precedents have affirmed that Title IX and equal protection guarantees protect transgender students' rights to use restrooms corresponding to their gender identity. You know, this story is probably no shock that these are coming back in North Carolina. It's a big election year. Obviously, we're seeing the spark of all the transgender issues. We're seeing those here in our local politics. There's a commercial running for Jared Moskowitz, and he's advocating for sex changes for children, things that are completely false.
Okay.
And we're going to see more and more of this because the only thing the other side has, I think last night they were interviewing El Sayed on Fox News, and again, talking about kids in sports and who should be playing in sports, because they don't want to talk about things that are actually impacting Americans, which is not which bathroom do people use, and is not if there's a one or two across a state of children that are playing in sports, is not an issue that affects most voters, but is the issue that you're going to hear the most in this election season.
The irony of the whole thing is that they want to keep boys with boys and girls with girls, but it's okay to bring a transgender woman into a men's bathroom because they were at birth were born as a boy, but yet they're permitting a woman to go into the restroom thinking that's not going to cause more controversy. They're almost like leading into, okay, everyone can go wherever they want to go, because you're letting the opposite sex go into the same bathroom as the sex that they're presenting or not presenting as.
Point taken. What I think you're welcome. What I think they're really trying to do is I think they're trying to create social anarchy, and they're trying to create vigilantism. Is that a word? Vigilantism. Yeah. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make people afraid to even use the bathroom in public if you're not going to conform to the gender, whatever, and I use this in quotation marks, if you're not going to conform to the gender norms that they have prescribed as quote unquote normal. So they want people to enforce the rules. So if you are biologically female that now presents as male and you look like a butch man going into a female bathroom because that's how you were born in the opposite sex, they want people to beat you up. They want people to intimidate you, and they want you to think twice about your existence on planet Earth. And it's a very hostile and aggressive way to enforce and legislate. It's not a good time.
Right. It's the wedge and divisive issue. It's not just about trans people. It's about putting a wedge in there that is going to encapsulate all of us. Not just, hey, look at this trans person doing one thing or another, but look at all of these freaks. Right. Mm-hmm. And by that, they want to say our entire community, not just one portion of it.
And some of the articles about it, they talked about in some of the schools where this has happened, they then call the police to say there's a woman in the men's room or there's a man in the women's room, and the police get involved and come into it and start arresting people because they're following the rules of I should be, how I was born. So I was told I have to go into the men's room even though I'm presenting as a woman.
And it's another way to demean the community, to bring unwanted scorn, unwanted spotlight, violence. Perhaps, it escalates a situation that doesn't need to be escalated if people would just mind their business.
Right.
So,
I mean, you're in the school on a daily basis.
Yes, I am.
How do you, do you see this happening?
No.
And where are the kids and what do they say about it?
To be quite honest with you, I don't see this in schools. This is not an issue that I see on a daily basis.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
It's not an issue.
It's not an issue. I don't see this. We don't have, do I suspect that there maybe are some students that might be, when they're older, might be a little different? Yeah. Do I think twice about it? No, it's not really that interesting to me. Do they present themselves differently at school? I think the biggest difference that I see at school is that, some kids come in with different color hair. That's...
But their peers aren't riled up by it.
Not
right?
at all. Not at all. The students have absolutely no issue with it. There's, when I was going to school, I was born in 1987. I was growing up in the mid-90s. The worst thing you could do was call somebody gay. The worst thing you could do was call somebody a homo. Now it's, somebody will say, oh, that person's so zesty, and that means gay. And it's actually like a term of endearment, like, you're so zesty, I love it. It's actually like a cute kind of a term, and straight guys use it amongst themselves, and it's cute, it's just very friendly, actually. There's nothing behind it, not meant to be offensive at all. At all.
I'm ready to add zesty to my nomenclature.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah. You never heard that before?
No.
Oh, I'm glad.
But I'm old and out of touch.
Okay.
That's why Glenn and I get along.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? I didn't think you did. Okay. I'm learning something new.
We share an Encyclopedia Britannica. We have all the volumes.
Do you?
Oh, wow.
I'm Glen Weinzimer, and let's queer up education. High school adopts inclusive O logo following pride flag removal. Bishop O'Dowd High School, a Catholic college preparatory institution in Oakland, California, introduced a custom rainbow-colored logo known as the Inclusive O to affirm LGBTQ+ students after being ordered by church leadership to remove all pride flags from campus. The directive came from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Oakland and Bishop Michael Barber, who instructed administrators last winter to remove rainbow and transgender pride flags from classrooms. While at least one flag had hung in a classroom for over 30 years, school staff took the flags down on June 1st, 2026. Side note, first day of Pride. Holding a private chapel ceremony to mark the transition. In an August 13 letter to parents, school president Kim Walsh explained that the flags have become a, quote, lightning rod within the community, stating administrators did not want a symbol to become the source of division that diminished our ability to care for the students. To maintain visible inclusion without defying diocesan authority, school leaders collaborated with faculty, parents, student leaders, and LGBTQ+ advocates to design the Inclusive O. The new emblem features a rainbow watercolor wash within the school's block letter logo alongside the motto, Seen, Known, Loved. While advocacy groups like New Ways Ministry praise the compromise as a creative solution for Catholic institutions, some alumni and critics argue that creating a custom alternative dilutes representation by abandoning the globally recognized pride flag. District leadership affirmed that auxiliary support programs, including the school's Pride Arts Club and Inclusive Family Day, will remain fully active. This is just, it's ridiculous because they basically put another pride flag out and they've got the green light to put another pride flag out as long as it's not the official pride flag. So they didn't change anything. They didn't change the coming out day or anything else that they might celebrate at the school that is LGBT and gay related. So I just think it's sort of a comical the way, okay, this is a big issue. Let's take the flags down and we'll put up a new flag that no one is not an official flag, but everyone knows it's a gay flag. Silly.
And who was it divisive for, is the question. Is it, were there 3 parents complaining. I mean, we're in Oakland, California.
Right.
I don't think it's a bastion of, right-wing
Conservative.
conservatism. It is a Catholic school, which I understand, but they've had a pride flag for 30 years.
Way before.
So
it was
now it's a
popular.
lightning rod. It's a lightning rod in 2026, not 30 years ago. It wasn't a lightning rod, or for the last 29 years in 2026. This is because we kowtow to the complainers that come on board,
Parent.
and I would assure you that the parents of that school, I could only imagine that it was a very small minority, if there were any complaints, and likely it could have been administrators that had their own issue with it, that they decided to remove.
Well, look at the coalition that they brought together to go ahead and approve the O symbol with a watercolor rainbow flag in it. They had everybody there.
Yeah.
The thing that I find most offensive about that story, and I do want to preface by saying it is a Catholic school, so I get the point about 30 years, but their stance is pretty clear. So it's surprising that there was a flag to begin with, not that it was taken down. But the thing that I find most offensive is that there was a private ceremony held in the chapel to mark the taking down of the flag. What was that ceremony? What did they do? What did they say? And why was that part of that process?
Right.
And what does the pride flag symbolize that's against Catholicism? It's a representation of how people identify. It is not about having sex. It is about how people identify. So, and the Pope himself has blessed and embraced LGBTQ people as being members of the church. Now, the particulars of LGBTQ relationships may not be fully sanctioned by the Catholic Church, but identifying people and groups of people and recognizing them is certainly not anti-Catholic doctrine.
I'm going to be a little contrarian here, and I'm going to say if you're going to play in their sandbox, then you're playing in their sandbox. It doesn't, for me, and especially because I work in a school and I understand bureaucracy and I do understand systems. I know, Glenn, and all of you all understand big systems. You all work in systems. They didn't have to do anything. They could have taken it down and they could have just said, look, we don't want any flag. So the fact that there is a flag, that there's a rainbow at all and it's seen, whatever their motto is, seen, loved, heard, whatever it is, it's better than, a sharp stick in the eye, as my grandmother would say. I mean, do I like it? No. Do I think the rationale is stupid? Yes. So what? Now what? We have to move on from it. I mean, don't send your kid to that school if you don't like what the Archdiocese of Oakland is doing. I mean, yes, it's offensive. It's a Catholic school. I mean, so what now what? Like, get over it.
That opens up a bigger can of worms about how schools are funded and whether or not students are getting a good public education. So why would you send your kid to a private school? Like that's a different story, I think, but it's something that runs very tangential to this.
And we won't talk about Catholic priests on this story, right?
Well, it's just not part of this conversation, but
no.
Next time.
Only if they have an O in their office.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Bender, and let's queer up the worldview. European LGBTQ activism faces critique over exclusion of Israelis and Jews. An opinion article by Sharon Pardo, published in the Jerusalem Post, examines a growing rift between Israeli identity and organized European LGBTQ activism, arguing that public spaces once dedicated to universal human rights are increasingly imposing exclusionary political loyalty tests on Jewish and Israeli participants. The commentary contrasts Israel's historic role as a liberal democratic sanctuary for LGBTQ+ individuals in the Middle East with post-October 7th events across European cities such as Amsterdam and Berlin. Pardo details how Jewish organizations and visible Israelis have faced rising suspicion, intimidation, or pressure to repudiate their nationality before being accepted in progressive spaces, addressing the core contradiction of demanding universal equality while applying it selectively. Pardo observes, quote, when participation is conditioned on repudiating one's nationality or communal ties, inclusion becomes a political loyalty test, a movement that asks society to defend rights without qualification cannot defend those same rights selectively. This is not simply a question of political consistency. It is a moral challenge, end quote. The piece concludes by calling on European civil society leaders to reject political litmus tests, noting that true moral leadership requires protecting unpopular or politically isolated individuals rather than conditioning inclusion on ideological conformity. It's interesting, you know, as a Jewish person, my algorithm gives me a lot of different perspectives, and I want to say that as of right now, I do support the state of Israel. Do I support the government of the state of Israel? Hell to the no. Do I support carpet bombing Gaza? No, I do not. Do I think it's a genocide? If it's not, it's very close.
It is.
If it's not, it's very close. That's all I'm going to say. It's scary close. So all I want to say is my heart hurts for the people in Gaza. I heard that there's a child in the West Bank who has a developmental disability that needs special food, that an Israeli friend of mine has to have friends that travel in and out of Israel. She has to pack it with them because she's contacted pharmacists at very high levels in the government that will not allow this food to get into the West Bank for this little child who is Palestinian, who all he needs is this food in order to prevent neurological disease. This is the only thing he needs. He doesn't need special medication. He just needs this food in order to develop correctly. They will not allow it in through any official channels, so it has to be brought in kind of, on the down low. So my larger point that I want to say about my algorithm is I was listening to a Jewish speaker talk, and as a Jewish person, we internalize the Holocaust. We internalize the pogroms that happened in Russia, in Ukraine, and all throughout Eastern Europe. 2,000 years of exile. You talk about, ancient Babylon, this and that. We have this whole history of wandering through the desert. But what we have to really grapple with is that the Palestinian story is now our story as well. We have been the victims for 2,000 years, but now we are also the perpetrators. And we have to make it very clear that this is now part of our narrative as well. And the sooner that we are able to come to grips with the fact that we can be victims, and it's okay, because we all have our stories of how we've been pushed out of our European countries and how the Mizrahi Jews were pushed out and how the Sephardic Jews were pushed out. I get it. We have our horror stories, and I'm not taking that away from any Jewish person. But also what we don't want to dismiss and what we don't want to bypass is the fact that we as a people are also capable of inflicting pain and torment and hurt on another group as well. I don't know how this is all going to play out. I don't know how the world is going to absorb that. Is it all anti-Semitism to have people hate you for your nationality? No, I don't think so. I think what people are asking is for Jewish people and people that identify as Israeli to take responsibility for the fact that they have to be responsible in the way that they tell their story as Jewish people. That we are no longer the victims in this story. We are now equal players on this field, and we need to come to grips with that, and we need to come to terms. So,
as the other Jew on this table today, I agree with you 100%. I believe that the state of Israel has a right to exist. I think it's important after the years and years of pogroms and everything else that you mentioned. But I don't stand with the government of Israel. I think it's atrocious that we of all people, having gone through 2,000 years, and especially the Holocaust, which would be the most significant and in one place something happening, for us to then do retribution against the Palestinians. That is not moral, what they did to children. It's not moral what's happening with that special needs child. I mean, they're people. They're not the ones that are firing the guns. They're not the ones that are, burning things down or creating chaos. These are just individuals like in Ukraine that are results of other people's mismanagement, bad political thought. I just think that like you said, that we don't have the right as Jews at this point to do something that horrific. I don't think anybody has the right to do something that horrific. I think what's happening in Ukraine is just as bad in a different way. But we're taking this stand as an Israeli government and Netanyahu that's just making it very hard for all Jews around the world. Anti-Semitism has been on the rise for a while, and this doesn't help at all because people are unfortunately lumping people together as everyone's the same.
Well, I mean, I want to echo all of your sentiments. I also have, in the last week, been very irritated by my algorithm. The primary election that just happened here in Florida last week, and the commentary around a longtime LGBTQ advocate in our community who has supported us in every way, shape, or form, being attacked by the LGBTQ community, and I'm referring to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I've been disgusted by people who I know from face to face, seeing their commentary, calling her in favor of genocide, making comments about her that I will say border anti-Semitism that are not blatant anti-Semitism. The litmus test thing that we're doing as a LGBTQ or progressive community in general is completely wrong. Debbie Wasserman Schultz can have the same thing saying that you're and is not a bad person and she is not a racist, she is not an anti-Semite, she has done in our own community specifically of what she's done for LGBTQ community. The commentary that I get mostly in my feed are from LGBTQ people is disgusting. It's really disgusting. And I think that we're making a huge mistake. I just watched, they were talking about John Ossoff in Georgia and saying like, wow, what a firebrand he's becoming. He's the lead person attacking Trump and in having the most success at it. And it was, I don't know what news show I was watching, and they said, but unfortunately, because someone said, what about 2028? And they said, no Jewish candidate will be able to run in 2028 who doesn't denounce Israel. And I thought, what? We're setting ourselves up for a big, big problem if we're creating our own litmus tests, which are very similar to what's happened on the right, and whether it's rejection of LGBTQ people or rejection of DEI or whatever. You have to be in favor of all of those things to be a Republican-leaning candidate. That's what we're doing on our side, and it's completely wrong, and it's disgusting.
That's very nuanced. Yeah, very good perspective.
We get back and forth in the muddy waters, but there are 2 points that really kind of stuck out to me here. And the one is we're the first to throw each other under the bus and forget that people are doing good things for us, even if they maybe not our candidate of choice in the primary election. But also, to your point, the idea that in a much more simplified terms, the victors write the history, but the history is also of the people that lost. And so it's remembering that those stories that are not the dominant stories also need to be told because they're stories of people who are self-actualized and who are human beings. And that's kind of what I'm taking from it. I'm Tai Houser. Let's queer up entertainment. Queer directors decline HBO's Harry Potter series. Prominent television directors Ali Panku and Kate Herron revealed they turned down direct offers from HBO to direct episodes of the upcoming Harry Potter television reboot, citing creator J.K. Rowling's active anti-transgender advocacy. The disclosures emerged after film industry reporting highlighted director recruitment efforts for the high-profile fantasy series. Responding to coverage details studio outreach to prospective filmmakers, Panku, who worked on Black Mirror and Feel Good, shared screenshots on social media confirming she declined an offer to helm episodes for the adaptation, responding simply, "Absolutely fucking not." Herron, who worked on Loki and Sex Education, similarly confirmed that she had passed on 2 separate opportunities to direct for the franchise. These 2 public rejections highlight growing friction within Hollywood creative circles over Warner Brothers Discovery's decision to keep Rowling attached as an executive producer. The public rejection by established queer directors underscores broader industry tensions surrounding the franchise. While Warner Brothers Discovery and HBO executives have repeatedly stated that Rowling's personal views will not impact what appears on screen, advocates maintain that producing new adaptations generates substantial royalties and provides an expanded platform for her political activities. It seems like we cannot go a week without having her in the news for something stupid that she says or does. And this isn't even that she said or did anything stupid. This is that people are finally standing up to her stupidness, which I think is a great thing that they're declining her. But what was going on with HBO that they thought executive producer was a great title for her?
Who knows what was in the original contract or agreement?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously created the IP, so we don't know what the agreement was when HBO decided to buy the rights to create a series, and she may have had it in her contract that she had to be an executive producer. But I just look at this as saying the free market economy is working. If you don't want to work for someone, you have the right to not work for them. And if you don't want to watch the Harry Potter series, which I don't want to watch at all, don't watch it and don't support J.K. Rowling. I do hope that someday maybe like the estate of RuPaul will like buy the Harry Potter franchise or something after she's dead, if it goes up for sale, or something very, ironic will happen with this Harry Potter franchise, because it is a beloved franchise by lots of LGBTQ people. So there's like this whole weird thing, of the lore of Harry Potter, and then the creator being this villain.
Sorry. Okay.
No, I don't want to step on your toes.
I step on yours.
Okay.
I think about the actors that are in it.
Yeah.
I mean, all the stars and stuff have gone on to do other things, and none of them come off as anti-trans or anti-LGBT. In fact, I would reckon that a lot of the stars were or are LGBT.
Absolutely.
And you look at some of the bigger stars that were in there in key roles. Can't think of their names right now.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Like Daniel Radcliffe, but the older lady.
Oh, Miriam Margolyes.
Yeah. All those folks, that are on there, and are definitely on Broadway and other places where they clearly, accept and are part of the LGBT community as either allies or LGBT themselves. So I got to think about what they think of all of this as well, because it's their livelihood. They all had, like, going back to what you said, they all have extreme talent, and it's an amazing franchise, but it's just who's leading that franchise is J.K. Rowling's, which is just too controversial for her.
And they've all made their money off of it already.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't change what has happened, and they can't change how they're going to benefit off of whatever royalties come their way. But she is actively pursuing avenues that will make her money.
Which is great.
And she's the kind of gal who's going to live to be 110 years old. She's going to be around with us for a very long time. She's going to be advocating for the worst possible things. She's going to be on the wrong side of every historical issue that there is. I hope that there is a shakeup where maybe she has to sell her, the rights.
Tax liability.
Like tax dodge
something, but as far as, her, untimely, going to wherever the afterlife is, that's going to lead her somewhere. She's not going anywhere for quite a while.
Eternal in a library.
Somewhere. Somewhere.
Or a snake.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Rosie O'Donnell inks they wrist tattoo in honor of non-binary child Clay's pronouns. Actor and comedian Rosie O'Donnell revealed she got the word they tattooed on her wrist to help her remember the correct pronouns for her 13-year-old child, Clay. Speaking on Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast, O'Donnell explained that Clay, who came out as non-binary, initially held up a piece of cardboard with they written on it whenever she slipped up. Inspired by the gesture, O'Donnell had the word permanently inked on her wrist in Clay's own handwriting. While O'Donnell admitted she still occasionally makes mistakes, she emphasized the importance of self-correcting and publicly affirming non-binary youth. Good for Rosie. I mean, if she wanted to do that, she wanted to do that. I love the idea that her kid was holding up a cardboard sign to remind her to say they.
I love that Rosie is back in the spotlight, and it's almost hard to remember that that she was such a a household name on our TVs every day, and wasn't living an out and proud life, and that she's come from that place to where she is today is, you know, and then having a child that's a member of the community, I think it's a great story.
And she had some really nice work done on her face. You could
Amazing.
You could tell she had like that lifestyle lift, or like that whatever that's called, where they do half
lower
the face.
bluff.
Lower, yeah. No, the bluff is up here.
Lower.
Okay, whatever.
Yes.
Whatever. She had the lifestyle lift where they did all this, and
Yeah.
it just looks really good. And Donald Trump in his dementia probably can't even figure out what she did to look so good. And she's like really, you know, jabbing him in her, you know, routines. I saw her doing some stand-up the other day, and she's not afraid. So good for her.
Ireland looks good on her.
Yeah.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up sports. Men return for a second season as Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders. Openly gay dancers Blaze Chic and Louis Kahn have officially returned to the Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders for their second consecutive season on the squad. The duo made history during the 2025 NFL preseason as the franchise's first out male cheerleaders, drawing widespread attention across professional sports. Despite facing internet pushback and social media commentary during their rookie year, the Vikings organization issued firm statements of support for both performers, reaffirming their commitment to inclusion and highlighting the long-standing role of male athletes in collegiate and professional cheerleading. Following successful auditions for the 2026 to 2027 roster, Chic and Kahn continue to help lead the crowd at US Bank Stadium, standing alongside a growing contingent of male cheerleaders performing across more than a third of NFL franchises. Great representation. I think we need to have more of this in the NFL, and good for them. Keep cheering.
Work with me on
Keep
this.
cheering queers.
Chic and Khan.
Yes.
Chic and Khan. Chic and Khan. Chic and Khan. No. That doesn't work.
No.
For a minute.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up sports. Gay AEW star Anthony Bowens praises heated rivalry for authentic closet depiction. All Elite Wrestling star Anthony Bowens, the first openly gay champion in AEW history, praised Rachel Reed's best-selling hockey romance, Heated Rivalry, stating that it captures a remarkably authentic side of what closeted professional athletes experience. In an interview with Pink News, Bowens reflected on his own journey as a closeted wrestler navigating male-dominated locker rooms early in his career. He noted that the novel accurately portrays the deep emotional toll, constant hypervigilance, and lingering fear of exposure that athletes endure while hiding their true identity from teammates, coaches, and fans. Bowens emphasized that media representation, like Heated Rivalry, play a vital role in building empathy within sports culture, helping fans understand why coming out remains a complex process while highlighting the importance of fostering inclusive team environments. I think this is great. I think this is the best story we've had tonight. That's really positive. You know, I saw Heated Rivalry. I'm sure all of you did too, and that was pretty steamy. I can see how this has made a lasting impact on him and his story. I think it's probably harder to come out as a wrestler where you're actually man on man as opposed to playing hockey or something else where there isn't that same physical contact. Because I wrestled in high school, let me just tell you. And I wrestled, I won't mention his last name, yes. But he was hot as could be. And I remember being very uncomfortable at an age where the bus makes you bing. So, you know, so I understand how that could be a little awkward when you're doing wrestling.
This is quite a heated rivalry.
This is indeed a heated rivalry
that we're getting from Glen right now.
Yeah.
I think that the storyline he's pointing out is when we think about, you know, all of the gay stories that get told on television, sports is not at the top of the list, and so this gave another representation to our community, and I'm glad that it made him feel seen.
The show opened up a conversation in ways that it hadn't been opened before, and he's participating in it and helping to further extend that conversation, and that's great. That's what we need to be doing.
And I think there's been, I know we're closing out on this, but like Billy Beane was earlier back in the late 80s, early 90s is the first one in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had these icons of masculinity or femininity coming into tennis and other places where they've come out. but you're starting to see it like in hockey and other places that it would not traditionally be that they would ever admit to it. And I think that's pretty amazing.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up trans rights. Transgender men form compliance crews to protest state bathroom laws. Groups of masculine, bearded, transgender men across states like Kansas are forming compliance crews to enter women's public restrooms, intentionally complying with state-mandated bathroom laws to highlight the confusion and security flaws created by the legislation. The coordinated actions target state laws that legally mandate individuals to use government-owned public facilities based strictly on biological sex assigned at birth rather than gender identity. By visibly entering women's facilities at libraries, state buildings, and public venues, as the law requires, participants report causing immediate confusion among patrons and staff, frequently resulting in police dispatch and uncomfortable enforcement interactions. Organizers maintain that these peaceful compliance demonstrations expose the inherent absurdity of the statutes, proving that enforced birth sex mandates decrease facility security, heighten public panic, and create enforcement chaos for local law enforcement. Well, I could have told you that, and that's way above my pay grade to even know that. That's what these lawmakers want to do. They want to create public instability. They want to create public chaos so that when these butch female to male people go into these men's bathrooms with these, you saw in the pictures, they have these long beards, they're butch men, they present as men. They have to go into these women's bathrooms because they were born female at birth. They go into these bathrooms and it causes panic amongst the biological females. And that's what these lawmakers want. They want the police to come out there. They want, no pun intended, they want these female to male transgender people to be manhandled. They want them to be arrested simply for existing. They want them to be causing a public disturbance. They want them to talk back a little bit. They want them to be sassy. They want them to, they want fodder to be able to say, you see, it's these queers. I'm spitting, I'm so angry. It's these queers that are causing society to break down, and the best place for them is not around us, and preferably not in our state. So
I love the point, and they're knowingly calling it absurd. They're knowingly calling these laws absurd, and they're doing it intentionally. And I love that kind of, it's not really silent protest, but that kind of like ironic resistance backwards protest like thing. I love it.
Fine, you want me to go in there? I'll go in there.
Yeah, because that's what you want. I'll do it.
These transgendered people, they don't really have to do that. They pass quite well as men, and they are men. You know, they might have been born female at birth, assigned female at birth. They pass quite well as men. They have beards. They're on testosterone, obviously. Nobody would question their sexual or their gender identity. They're doing this to prove a point.
Right.
They're doing this as a form of resistance to say, look, this is really messed up what the government is forcing on transgendered people. Now, not to be the contrarian that I am, it's those people that maybe are not far along in their transition process, that maybe have not started whatever hormone therapy or transition or whatever, that just say maybe one day, I'm going to wake up one day and I'm going to dress in the opposite, dress, and I would like you to call me female now, and I'm going to go into that bathroom. So I think that there's this kind of boogie person, I don't want to say boogeyman, but there's this kind of boogie person that lawmakers kind of envision, that there are these predators out there that are simply not really going through with gender transition and are simply just men in dresses that are trying to infiltrate women's spaces. Do I believe that that's true? No. Do I believe that there are sick people out there that might try something? Maybe 1 in a million. But do I think it's pervasive? No.
They're creating a fictitious foil, or
right.
You know,
absolutely.
just to just to promote things. But I think ultimately it is a strong show of confidence when you can defy traditions like this in the way that they're doing it.
Sure.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community.
We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community. We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America. Hotspots Happening Out, South Florida.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary. With more than 16,000 LGBTQ television stories, we present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Jeff Oliverio. Jeff is founder and president of the Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council and serves as co-chair for the upcoming 6th annual My Hollywood Pride, which returns in January 2027. He also serves on the Save Gala Committee. Jeff is a director and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth based in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Happy to be here.
Let's welcome anchor Glen Weinzimer. He has been a South Florida advocate for over 30 years, raising awareness and more than $16 million for the HIV/AIDS community for 20 plus years. He's also a travel director and corporate events planner. Welcome to the show, Glen.
Always good to be back. I was away again last week for another stint out of town. Got back yesterday. Happy to be here today.
How much longer until we don't get to see you again?
I leave on Saturday for a week. I'm going to Italy, but this one's for pleasure.
Okay, have a great trip.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Want to come with?
Yeah.
I know you do. Too late.
Let's welcome anchor Brian Bender. Brian is a true South Florida local. He's an educator, community leader, and a strong voice in education, history, and public policy. He teaches in Broward County Public Schools, holds a bachelor's and master's degree in education, and a postgraduate degree in leadership. Serves on the Fort Lauderdale Education Advisory Board. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks for having me. I've just been working 9 to 5. It's quite a way to make a living. So I'm so happy to be here today, and
Wow.
sorry that we have to talk about some not so happy subjects. So I'm sure we'll find some glimmers of hope. Well, Glen's here, but we'll
Ask me.
we'll get past that. But we'll talk about some things today. Happy to be here.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Tai Houser. Dr. Houser is a professor of English and Humanities at Broward College and Florida Atlantic University. Welcome to the show, Tai.
I am so happy to be here with two of my favorite people, and Glen, it's so nice to see you.
Same.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. You heard me right. That's the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I've been your anchor, Tai Houser. Thank you for joining us. And on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, including Jeff Oliverio, Glen Weinzimer, and Brian Bender, we'll see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you a very good night.
Good night.